Hello everybody, my name is Redwin, and today I'm going to take you on a different kind of tour. We're back in Minecraft today, and I have for you something a little special. We are here in this sort of custom terrain map, and if we come around this corner, this is actually the first castle I ever built. It has kind of an interesting story and lore to it, so I'm going to go over that today and just kind of showcase it on the channel. You'll notice the palette on this pathway is very different from the obsidian and lava and magma shit on the castle itself. And that is because, technically, I didn't build this. This was very, very early in the days when I started building. And I was working on a factions server at the time called Landspire. It was a big thing. I spent an ungodly amount of money developing it, but part of what I wanted to do for that server was prepare a castle to build on the server. But because I wasn't very good at building, I decided to just steal a build from like 2012 and remodel it for, it was 1.16 at the time when I made this castle. So it's not exactly my build, but it used to be just this very basic stone brick, cobblestone, that kind of stuff. When I originally found it, I wish I could find the original file on Planet Minecraft and, you know, put in the description or shout out the person that made it, because it's an incredible, like, actual castle design here, but I haven't been able to find it in all my years of trying to dig for that. I say years, I've looked a couple times, but this kind of just rotted on my hard drive after I gave up on Landspire and moved on to build my own castles. But I still think this is a very interesting piece of my history when it comes to building, because I still, you know, when I originally found this castle, it was just sort of all the whole blocks. So all the stairs, all the roofs, the slabs, the walls, pretty much all of that I did. And then I also, using an old map editor, I forget the name, it was the one before Axiom. I changed everything to Obsidian, and imagine building this in survival. That was my plan. But borrowing that much Obsidian, it really goes to show and help illustrate kind of how delusional Landspire and this original castle concept was. Even though it does look pretty cool, I'm still fairly proud of it. Coming through the front gate here, we have this funny little trapdoor thing. And you'll notice, if I come up this tower, let's see here, it's a little interesting. There's actually, hello staircase, can I not, I'm just gonna, gonna break that. Up here, in the ceiling, there's a beacon. And that is because, the way I designed the original faction server was, it was sort of, I called it, what was it, border factions or something? Or effectively, you would go based off the chunk borders, like a normal faction server, you would claim everything into all that. But the way it worked is when you were sort of in the process of defeating a faction, killing players would reduce sort of the border area. Yeah, you would reduce the border area of the faction's claim. So if you wanted to, you know, take down this castle, you would actually have to attack this section of the castle to reduce the decay on the claimed chunks further and further into the build. Which, maybe that's still kind of a cool concept for a server. I still have the plugin somewhere. But that's kind of the design that went into this. So you'll see periodically there's all these beacon towers in the sky. That's because the beacons were used to sort of reclaim chunks, and it was a whole system, but everything was based around using these chunks and decaying further and further towards your target. which made for, you know, being able to build something like this, preferably out of stone or something, and have it actually be defensible, as averted to just shooting TNT cannons and the sort of modern factions, or the classic factions gameplay. I was trying to design something very custom and very unique, and I think it was, but perhaps not in the best way. This is the second tower. I do believe this doesn't have a beacon in it. Oh, nope, it does. Okay. Yep, so this tower also has a beacon, so they would have to effectively go into that section of the castle, destroy that beacon, and then move on to this beacon and this tower to get further into the castle. Which is why you have these sort of segmented gates and doors. I suppose I could have done them the whole length of the bridge for more security, but getting in here would be a pain in the ass if I did that. But yeah, I really like these sort of magma lava features. If you look over the edge, you can see that I actually turned the lake down here into lava. And I didn't do it to the rest of the terrain because, you know, I was very lazy when I originally made this, but you'll see it's on like a giant pillar of I think black sand, black concrete, whatever that is. It was all black stone. It's called Blackwall, as you can see in the title. Coming up here, we have the castle proper. Moving through, I love these little, like, these lava feature things here. Just a little aesthetic thing there when you look down the bridge. Looks pretty cool. But the castle proper is where it gets pretty cool. And I take no credit for this in whatsoever. The whole layout, general layout of this build, I didn't design. So if you can find whoever originally made this, credit to them. I have not been able to, despite checking more than a few times just to see if I can. We have this, the portcullis sort of gatehouse thing here. You can go up in those towers, shoot out. But in here, this is the city. And this tour is going to get a little disjointed because there's so many nooks and crannies to explore. This leads up to this major tower here. I'm not exactly sure how best to showcase this because it's just such a complicated structure. But we'll start with this. This was not part of the original build. This is a Redwin original here. This is a little peasant hovel in the city where you'd throw, I don't know, the local homeless people. This is a multi-tiered house here. The timber work and framing, I did all of that. The buttons, the panes, staggering with like the different types of blackstone. That was all me. I kind of took the building skills I had at the time and applied it to an old like 1.7 castle I found on Planet Minecraft or something. I don't know what this is. I guess there's a glowberry farm in here. I suppose that was my idea of how the castle would stay fed, is a single glowberry farm. Down here, actually, we'll just go one section at a time. So this is the tiered sort of middle section here. If we come in here, we have the enchantment room. I did this interior. You can tell because it's not very good. And it doesn't particularly match the aesthetic. There's also just this cobblestone in the ceiling, looks kind of cursed. Oh well. But this gets really cool. Look at this alleyway here between the buildings. I really wish I knew how to actually build like this. Here we have the workshop, craft stations. It's pretty neat. Furnaces, that kind of stuff. The idea here for this castle was that all the members of the base would live here, secure away from the borders of the faction territory, where where they could, you know, do all their livings. This is a little tavern I made. Never mind the incredibly dank ceiling here. Magma perhaps wasn't the best choice visually because it just overwhelms the eyes, but it looks nice from the outside. This was like a jukebox. I don't know why that would be in a castle, but I put it there. We have the bar here. It's pretty neat. I mean, my building skills at the time, they weren't half bad. I did do a lot of like original building stuff, but I had never attempted like a mega build. Not like the ones you've seen in the Valheim build, stuff like that. I actually have another castle that I'll be touring in a subsequent video where I actually attempted building my own. And you'll see just how, you know, the beacon faction mechanics fit in and make it a weird layout. So stay tuned for that. But for now, this leads up into, I believe this is the barracks. I think this is the barracks. There used to be a bunch of beds. Yeah, this is the barracks. So down here is the chest, the grand storage room, the vault, where you would store all your stuff, raiding factions and that kind of thing. I was very much in love with the concept of factions when I made the server. And when I actually went on to play like multiplayer PvP games like Renown or Rust, I realized it wasn't for me. Which is a shame, because this is kind of a monument to something I dedicated a very large section, a very large portion of my life to. I spent two or 3 years developing that server, and in the meantime, learning how to build castles so that I could build on that server. That was kind of like the reason I first got into this kind of stuff, was to build for a faction server that just never came to be. I actually do have an unlisted video on my channel of the alpha release when I tried launching it, but that will forever remain unlisted. That will never see the light of day. Going through here, this is where I actually tried to do some interior stuff. So you have these little anvil torches. Those would be incredibly expensive to make in survival, I think, unless you can just use one across multiple. I don't actually know. This was right around when they added the ore blocks. You can walk through this little hallway here, and I'm proud of this. This was my first attempt at a sort of hall, a gathering hall where all the members of the faction would come. You can actually sit in these chairs and check that out. So I imagined when I made this, all of the faction members sitting around this grand table discussing strategies and rival factions in the realm. It was a very, very strange time of my life, because I saw this as kind of the way I would go about making friends. I wasn't in school. I had graduated years ago, and I thought building some grandiose structure, grandiose server would be my answer to you know, making it on YouTube and making all these new friends in the space, I suppose, or a new space that I created. No, I don't know. Down here, this leads to a very interesting section. This whole path snakes down here into, I believe it goes even further, deeper and deeper and deeper, until you reach this sort of walkway here. Very cool, and it looks up at the castle proper there. So neat. Despite this not being my original construction, I'm still pretty proud of how, you know, I did all the roofs. They're a little odd, like that doesn't make a lot of sense from the way I style my builds now. I kind of just vomited everything I could to make it look fancy. I don't know. I think there's still a pretty cool charm to it, which is why I'm making this video. I figured this was worth documenting, even if Landspire itself kind of died and never came to be. This is the dungeon. This is where I would keep Landspire if it was still an active server. I would throw it in the cell, never to be seen again. I don't know. I was still pretty proud of making that server, but just didn't pan out. We go up this staircase here, or where is it? Here? Here it is, yeah. This leads all the way up. It's hard to see with this this helmet on. Here we have, I think this leads into, no, this is just a floor. Let's see. Wow, I really can't see with this helmet. It's like dark, and I only have a thin visor to see out of. Okay, yes, this leads... Oh, hello. Ah, yeah, so here is the bridge that connects the sort of main hall portion of the castle and the rest of it. Very, very cool. Especially with this custom terrain that I didn't build. But we come around here, and in the back, there is this. Check that out. Man. Yeah, I think there's a little more here I can show you. I believe I've honestly forgotten a lot of how this castle is structured. There's this section here. I think this is just an empty house. Yeah, just an empty house. Leads further into the barracks and the terrace and all those things. Oh, this is pretty cool. Yeah, so if you come and take a left in this section, I don't know why there's Obsidian there. I think that was a bug of the terrain, or the world editor I was using. But down here is another dungeon. Pretty neat. That's remains of the original castle. But you come right back here. And it might be plugged by Obsidian. There we go. There's this. So the faction server actually had mechanics where you could like handcuff players and, you know, keep them prisoner. That's why I had those cells in there, is you could actually take other players prisoner and put them in cells. And so this was where I imagined you would take your prisoners and just cast them into the lake of fire. Oh man. Thinking back on it, it's such a, I don't know. I want to say it's toxic, but it's also kind of funny to just, you know, you go to like the spawn of wherever the server is and you just catch all these new players, take them back to your giant castle, and I don't know, something's still funny about it to me. I watch a lot of like Rust content, and the social stuff that comes out of those videos are just very, very interesting to me, or they were at the time that I made this castle. Now I'm more interested in just building. But if we head up this way, I believe I'm right under the... Okay, you take the ladder onto the staircase. That's odd. But if we come all the way up here... All the way up here... Ah, here we are. To the tippy top. It's hard to see. Let me see if I can speed this. There we go. Yes. Oh no, it goes up even more. Oh, wow. Even higher to the tippy top. And here we are. This is the highest point in the entire castle. You can look down at the city portion, the barracks, the towers, all of this. And out over the bridge and into the great beyond, where I originally planned to build this castle on a server. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this this build here. Ta-da! This is it. I called it Blackwall. Technically not my castle. I didn't build it, but I figured I'd go ahead and tour it anyway, because this was actually the first actual kind of build project that I worked on. And it holds a very special place in my heart as like kind of where it all began when I first started doing this kind of stuff. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the tour. If you did, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe. No pressure, you don't have to. But till next time, I'll definitely make more of these, and I'll catch you later. Peace.